Have you ever been in a relationship with a narcissist who suddenly decided to end it, but you could tell they couldn't let go? The experience is frustrating and confusing, and it leaves you feeling mentally drained. You wonder how someone can push you away while still wanting to be with you. This back-and-forth behavior is typical of relationships with narcissists, and it can keep you in a loop of doubt and mental turmoil. They'll end the relationship one minute, and then come back the next, making your life even more unstable and painful emotionally. When someone does things that don't make sense, it's hard to understand how they could act this way. Why would they break up with you, and then keep coming back into your life like nothing happened? Before we can figure out why narcissists do these strange things, we need to look at the psychology behind them. Narcissists are strongly motivated by a need for approval, control, and attention that they can never get enough of. How other people see them, and how much respect they get from those around them determines their entire sense of self-worth. People usually break up with you because they feel like you're not giving them the care or serving their ego anymore. They might feel temporarily better after getting rid of you, like they have control over the situation again. That being said, this comfort doesn't last long. They become insecure and afraid of losing control as soon as they think you're going on, getting better, or becoming independent. Because of this fear, they feel the need to pull you back in and take back control. They can't stand the thought of you not being affected by them at all. They think of you as theirs and aren't ready to give you up, even if they don't say it. Why would they break up with you in the first place, and then get back together with you when you're ready? It has to do with power. It's fun for narcissists to keep their partner's emotions changing all the time. When someone breaks up with you, it leaves you feeling empty and makes you wonder what went wrong, what you could have done better, and why they left in the first place. You feel emotionally tied to them because you don't know what will happen, and the longer you stay emotionally tied, the harder it is to break free. They feel scared when you start to separate yourself from them and find your own identity again. They think they are losing control over you. They need to feel like they're in charge, and showing up in your life again makes them feel like they are. That's not what it means to want you back in the usual sense. It means keeping control of your feelings. This pattern of breaking up and then getting back together, of pushing you away and then pulling you back, is unhealthy and can leave you feeling confused and hurt. Narcissists like it when their relationships are unstable because it makes sure they always have someone to validate them and give them attention. The ups and downs of these relationships can keep you hooked, making you want praise and affirmation from someone who isn't always there for you or emotionally stable. And because it never ends, you feel mentally dependent on them, even though the way they act may hurt and annoy you a lot. It's important to understand why narcissists break up with you, and then insist on staying in your life if you want to get away from them emotionally. The narcissist's actions are not random or unplanned. They are part of a well-thought-out plan to keep you mentally attached to them and under their control. It's easier to spot the unhealthy habits they set when you understand that their actions are not motivated by love or care, but by power and control. Narcissists really don't want you to leave. They just can't stand the thought of giving up their control over you. When you start to get better and regain your freedom, they will try to get back into your life and stop you from moving forward. As someone who is either in a relationship with a narcissist or who just broke up with one, knowing why they do the things they do can help you get back in charge of your emotional health. Realize that the narcissist's actions are not about you. They are about their need for control and their failure to deal with the fact that you are moving on. You'll be able to break free from their toxic grip and feel safe and at ease in your life again once you can mentally separate yourself from their influence. It's not simple, but it's possible. Before we go into more detail about how narcissists control their partner's emotions, I'd like to take a moment to ask you to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with anyone who might be going through the same thing. With your help, we can reach more people who are dealing with the difficulties of narcissistic relationships and keep giving you useful information on how to escape these harmful loops. we can shed light on the ways narcissists try to control people and give each other the strength to rise above the emotional turmoil they cause. You are not going through this trip by yourself. You can heal and move on with strength and clarity if you have the right tools and knowledge. Now let's look more closely at this strange and annoying behavior. Why do narcissists break up with you and then come back to get you? This situation doesn't make sense, and it leaves a lot of people feeling confused and mentally drained. Narcissists act this way because they have a strong and constant need to be liked, controlled, and validated. Their sense of self-worth is very weak and depends on other people for everything. Narcissists don't get their worth from inside, unlike people who have a good sense of self-esteem. Instead, they depend on constant praise, attention, and support from other people to keep up the public image they want to show. They'll do anything to keep this picture alive, because it's often carefully put together. So, when you start dating a narcissist, they will probably show their love and attention by giving you lots of compliments and attention. This stage is called love bombing, and it's a strong, deceptive way to get you to stay in the relationship. During this time, they may make you feel like you are the most important person in their world, and that they really want you. They know exactly how to make an emotional link, but it's only on the surface because they want to keep up their image and control. But as time goes on, this strong love and attention start to fade. Narcissists can't keep good, long-term relationships going because they don't have the emotional depth needed to make real connections. The more praise they get, the more they need it, and no matter how much they get, it's never enough. They are always wanting more, and when their partner can't give them the praise and attention they want, they get angry, unhappy, or even bitter. This is the start of the devaluation phase. They might mentally pull away from their partner and act in ways that put them down. In some cases, they might even start criticizing or blaming their partner for things that have nothing to do with the situation. When the narcissist feels like their ego has been hurt or their needs have not been met, they may break up with their partner. But it's not always because they want to end things for good. Most of the time, it's because the narcissist wants to get back in charge of the relationship and their partner. Things get even more confused when you realize that the narcissist doesn't just go away after the breakup. They might make you feel like they've left you, but they don't really go. Often they show up again when they think their ex-partner is starting to get better, deal with things, or even move on. This is when the narcissist's need to be in charge stands out the most. It breaks their hearts to think that their ex-partner is mentally independent and no longer connected to them. The thought of not being the center of attention in your life hurts their ego, so they will find any way to get back into it. This could mean reaching out and promising to change, saying sorry for what they did in the past, or making empty displays of love. They might even act angry or frustrated, or they might try to trick you into thinking that you caused the breakup. The goal is the same no matter what they do to keep you emotionally connected to them, even if they don't want a full relationship or aren't fully committed to you. Narcissists act in ways that don't make sense and try to control others. In one way, they broke up with you, which made you feel rejected and mentally hurt. But they won't really let you go. They need to get what they want. Even though they no longer want a real bond with you, they want to keep your emotions in check. If you ask them why they did what they did, they might say they miss you, made a mistake, or have changed. But the truth is that they don't really want to get back together or deal with the problems that caused them to break up in the first place. They're not after a resolution of your emotions. They want to keep you mentally hooked. Whatever they can do to stay in your life, even if it's just occasionally, they can still get the mental support and energy you give them. They don't want you to get better or move on, because then they would lose control of you and the power that comes from having your attention. Narcissists act in ways that show they want to be in charge and have power. Their need to control and abuse you is challenged by your healing and mental independence. They like it when you're confused and always wonder if the breakup is really over or if there's still hope for getting back together. They leave you with an emotional void when they break up with you. And as you start to heal and find peace, They can feel that void being filled by your own growth and sense of self-worth. They will do anything to keep you from moving on, because this makes them feel threatened. Even though they've already dumped you, they want to make sure that you still care about them and want their support and validation. Breakups, withdrawals, and re-engagements are all part of emotional trickery, and they're meant to keep your emotions up and down. The narcissist knows exactly how to make you feel bad, and they use this knowledge to keep you from changing how you feel or what you do. Because they keep you in a state of uncertainty all the time, you feel personally connected to them. They don't want a real connection, but they also don't want you to be free from their pull. They want you to stay with them until they show you another sign of love or approval. When you're stuck in this loop, it gets harder to break free because it wears you out and makes you feel unstable. The narcissist feels threatened when you finally start to mentally separate from them and get the strength to move on with your life. They can't stand the thought of you being happy, at peace, or fulfilled without them. Their sense of control, power, and importance starts to fade, and they can't stand the thought of you living on your own. Because of this fear, they come back, often out of the blue, to take control over you again. They do what they do because they deeply want to tell you of how important they are in your life. However, this isn't a real desire for love or connection. It's a power struggle where the narcissist wants to keep your feelings in check. No matter how bad it is for your mental and emotional health, they want to keep feeding their weak ego. Sometimes, after a breakup, the narcissist will come back into your life just to test the waters. They may reach out to you without any real reason, watching your reactions and actions to see if you still care about them, and if you will easily fall back into the same pattern of giving them the attention and care they want. They might try to find out if you're still mentally dependent on them, or if you've really started to heal and become independent. If they get the sense that you don't care about them as much, or that you don't need their approval as much, they may pull away again. However, this withdrawal is usually only short-term. They will come back if they think they are losing control of you, or if they notice a change in the power play. This person's actions are never meant to make things right or heal your emotions. They only want to keep control of your feelings and keep you dependent on them. This pattern of interacting and then withdrawing is very bad for your mental and emotional health. Because the narcissist's actions are so random, you're never sure if their feelings for you are real, or if you can trust what they say or do. You start to doubt your own worth because of all this confusion. You start to wonder if you really deserve the love and respect you want. The narcissist knows that by making you feel unstable emotionally, they can keep you in a state of chaos where you don't know who you are and are always looking for their support. You'll always be on edge, wondering if they'll really leave or come back again because of what they do. This keeps giving them a way to feel good about themselves and lets them keep control of your emotions. It gets harder to break free from this loop the longer you stay in it, especially if you still care about them and the relationship. Sadly, it can be hard to see that you are stuck in a toxic and tiring dynamic while you are still in it. The narcissist may be able to control and manipulate your feelings so well that it makes it hard to think straight and see things as they really are. But it is possible to get away from the narcissist. The first thing you need to do is realize that their behaviors are not about you, even though they are aimed at you. Their actions are caused by a strong desire for approval, respect, and power. Don't forget that you are not the reason they did what they did, or the person they really care about. The narcissist is only using you to make themselves feel better about their own fears, and to boost their sense of how important they are. When you want to get away from a narcissist, one of the most important things you need to realize is that their tricks are just that, tricks. They will use shame, love, anger, or emotional blackmail, or anything else they can think of, to keep you close to them. They know how to make you feel like you're to blame for how they're feeling by lying or acting like the victim. They might try to make you feel guilty about not doing what they want, or they might try to control you by telling you they will change or loving you. To break out of the cycle, they need to realize that this behavior comes from their own need for power. When someone tries to control your emotions, you need to stop letting them. This will protect you from being emotionally manipulated. You can start to regain your own power once you see their deeds for what they really are. You stop trying to get their approval all the time and worrying about how they will react. Instead, you put your own mental health and well-being first. No longer do you have to stay stuck in the loop of narcissistic abuse. You start to take charge of your own life again and focus on your growth and healing. An important part of this process is setting clear, firm limits with the narcissist. At first, these limits may feel strange, especially if you're used to giving in to their wants and needs. But it's important to stick to your limits if you want to get back in charge of your life and feelings. People who are narcissistic will try to test these limits to see if you will give in. They might try to trick you into breaking your rules or not caring about them at all. But even when they try to get you to change your mind, it's important to stay strong and calm. Nasty people will not be able to control your emotions as much as you set and stick to your limits. Sometimes the best thing to do is to cut all ties with the narcissist. Most of the time, you should try to avoid touch as much as possible. This might not always be possible, especially if you both have kids or work. It will have less of an effect on your emotions if you put more space between yourself and the narcissist. Cutting ties with the narcissist stops them from influencing you, which is an important step in getting better and taking back your life. It is not easy to get away from a narcissist's mental control, and it takes time and work. However, it is possible to get your freedom back and feel stronger emotionally. When you stop letting them control your emotions and feelings, you give yourself the power to move on, find peace, and heal from the harm they did. As long as you set and stick to strong limits, the narcissist will have less control over you and your mental health. As time goes on, putting your own needs first will make the narcissist less powerful in your life. And that is the real way to get better in the end. Finally, I'd like to thank you for watching, subscribing, and interacting with this material. If these ideas have helped you, please leave a comment below with your own thoughts or experiences. Narcissistic relationships are tricky, but you can break out of the bad cycles they cause if you know what to look out for. Remember that you should look out for your mental health, and that you deserve to live a life without being manipulated. Do not give up. You are on the right track to getting better. Thanks for being here today.